Three questions. First question. Thank you for the generous food, International Buddhist Society team. Yeah? It's been donated by a lot of other people. So what do we learn from this? Try to give. Don't always receive. Try to give out. When you are receiving, think about the generosity of those who are giving and then say, I want to be generous too. Don't say, I always want to get, to give, to receive. In your family or in a company, if your attitude is always want to give, you're bound to be a good member of the family, a good member of the company. Because in the family, you always think, what did mom give me? I mean, how can mom give me more? How can dad give me more? Oh, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Look, my dad gave the good rooms to my sister. I don't like it. I hate it. How come they got good rooms, I got bad rooms? You're always trying to satisfy the ego that you want to achieve. But how many people would say, how many of you would say, hey, maybe my brother should enjoy a better room because my brother has been so nice. Maybe my brother should have a better room than me. I like to give a good room to my brother. Who would do something like this? Very few. Because they always want to get. They always want to get. They don't think of giving, sacrificing, and make other people happy. So yeah, the generous food, that generosity can remind us to be more generous. Not just receiving, but giving, giving, giving. There's so many volunteers in underdeveloped countries. I have a team of volunteers that I know that I donated some money to. They just returned from Guatemala. What is the country name called? Guatemala. And they wanted to build a $50,000 clinic for villagers in the mountain. And they came to, it's a Christian group. And they come to a Buddhist temple. And oh, it's very generous. They come to. Why are they generous? They're so generous in letting us do a generosity. So I consider them as very generous. I thank you very much for coming to a Buddhist temple. You must be a very, what do you call, altruistic person, not discriminating what religion is what, you know. So I said, yeah, we donated. We gathered together $8,000 and donated $8,000. It's a small amount, but we show our appreciation. If you're giving a chance to give, you should thank the person who gave you that chance, not that person thanking you to give. You see the difference between someone who appreciates and someone who don't? Thank you for the generous food, International Buddhist Society. What can a person do to rectify their sins? If a person breaks conduct or precept, when you talk about sin, we're not talking about sin that somebody gave you. It's the sin that means, let's say, karmic energy that is not good. You're creating this karmic energy yourself, not anybody. You're creating it yourself. But if you have done something wrong, how do you rectify it? You cannot rectify it. If you hit someone yesterday, can you say, I want to withdraw that fist striking at his cheek? It's already been done. When we say rectify, that means changing whatever has been done. How can you rectify something you have done in the past? You cannot. How can you change yesterday's? You cannot change yesterday. But you know what you can do? You can change it now. Change today. How can you change yesterday? If yesterday was miserable and suffering, you want to You want to bring yesterday's suffering into now and ponder on it and think about it and get mad on it and get jealous on it and get hatred on it. Would it help? If you bring yesterday's happening, that you've been abused, you've been scolded, you've been mistreated, and you remember and remember. 10 days ago somebody said something wrong and you still remember. 10 days ago something careless to you, you still remember. Are you not a victim of your own suffering? Because something said something wrong yesterday, you cannot change it. Why do you bring yesterday's agony into today and still talk about it, agonize on it, think about it, add your hatred on it? Would it help? So how will we rectify our what we have done wrong? You cannot rectify yesterday. Sorry. Even God cannot. But you are God today. You are God for tomorrow. You can change your misbehavior fear today. You can change your attitude today. You can do better today. Take a first step. So don't think about changing yesterday. You be a good person. Now there are certain things that you can do if you really have done something wrong yesterday. First of all, you make your determination not to commit the same error again. Secondly, you don't remorse on it and negatively emotionalize on it. It's just like when you kick a hurdle in your trip, you stumble and you fall. You don't cry lying on the road. You pick up your knapsack, brush off your dust. When you're healed, and you go on. You carry on. You just carry on and on and on. Don't cry on a hurdle. You changed it. You want to be a better person. You want to change your behavior. And if you have sinned someone, if you have hurt someone, you apologize. You seek repentance. You want to acknowledge that you are wrong. It's a hero to acknowledge your mistake, not a coward. But it's difficult to be a hero, you know. It's difficult. What do? You seek repentance, you say you're sorry. If that person is already gone, maybe you will be saying that in front of a Bodhisattva or Buddha, I have done something wrong to that person, now he passed away, and I would like, if he still exists, I would like to say sorry. And maybe I should make up for it by doing 10 good deeds, and I want to dedicate these 10 good deeds to that person that I have agonized, I have done wrong. I owed that person $10,000. He was desperate. He said, you borrowed $10,000 from me, and now I'm in difficulty, and I need some money. I just ignored him. I said, I didn't sign a contract with you. Who is there to know that I owe you $10,000? But actually, you owe $10,000. But he really suffered. He was so poor, he was so destitute, but you don't really care. Now that person passed away, and he said, oh, he passed away, now I want to repay him. I have no, there's nowhere to be found. I can't find the person. What do? I will be kneeling in front of the Buddha and say, Buddha, I would like to return this $10,000, but that person is gone right now. I would like to donate this $10,000 in memory of Mr. A that I agonized so many years ago. And more than that, I want to donate, and in addition, $20,000 and dedicate the merits to that person. You can do after, you know, a post, what do you call that? An after death donation. So there's so many things you can do to make up for it. But don't agonize on it. Positively do something to indicate your willingness to make up for it. Second question, how can we purify our sins? I've said it. You can purify it yourself, not Buddha. Buddha cannot purify it for you. You think about the logical argument for that. If Buddha can purify everything for you, if he's a real Buddha, he would have done it for you without you asking, because he has supernatural power, right? If Buddha claimed himself to be all compassionate, he would automatically purify all your sin. But he cannot. You yourself have to do it. Nobody can write the examination for you and get an A. The teacher cannot. You have to do it. I'm still looking for that book, you know. I've been looking for that book for 50 years. How to pass the examination without studying hard. I've been looking for that book for 50 years, and I'm still in search of it. I was giving a lecture in the University of Technology and Science last month, and I said something similar, and all the students laughed. I said, I'm still looking for that book, How to Pass the Examination Without Studying Hard. I don't know how to find it. And then there was a student who raised their hand, and he said, I know where to find it. Where? In your heart. Oh, I said, yeah, that's consciousness. Right in your mind. You'll find how to pass the examination without studying hard. Right in your mind. Because in your mind, you know there's no such thing. There's no such book. Next question. Is it okay to dance? Why not? But it's all in your mind. If you dance with a sensuous feeling, with a feeling of, I don't know, self, ego, aggrandizement and ego exaggeration, you just want to perform so that people admire your dancing technique, we say that you are #1 in your competition or whatever, you just want an ego inflation. You want the worshiping. You want people praise you. The dancing itself is not dirty, but your mind is. But if you dance with a partner that you're sensuously looking for you're seeking in something that you think is between a relationship between a husband and between a man and a woman, then the dance itself is pure, but your mind is not. So it's not in the dance, it's in your mind. But how many people dance with a pure mind? How many competitors in public dancing in what do you call that in competition? But that's a name for the British what do you call that? Woman, even in Olympic, something like that. In the ballroom dancing, actually, I'm going to. I'm not going to a ballroom dancing, but I am going to a location where I would be sharing 50% of the ballroom with ballroom dancers. I'll be going to Thailand to release about 15 or 12 buffaloes with 40 people in Hong Kong, and the organizer of this charity releasing buffaloes would let us and the ballroom dancers share the same room, share the same big hall, and these dancers were from Britain, and I don't know what that place called, Blackpool. Blackpool. These are Blackpool competitors. Well, they were internationally famous, and they would do performances, and they have an annual gathering in there. And then the organizer said, Mr. Samchai said, well, we will arrange you and your members to see the dancing. I said, no, I'm sorry. Because a monk is not supposed to see a Blackpool dancer dancing, not like that. So, is it okay to dance? Yes, it is okay. Ballroom, hip-hop. Well, I don't know how you can hip-hop. If we hip-hop, we broke all our bones these days. Is it okay to sing and still be wholesome? Is it okay to sing and still be wholesome? Singing itself is wholesome, but if your mind is not wholesome, then it becomes unwholesome. It's all in the mind. However, it all depends on the lyrics. You know, some hip-hops contain the four-letter word lyrics, you know. Have you heard of that song? I heard about that song. So it's in the lyrics, it's in the content of the song, and not in the singing. Next question. Venerable, can you explain the significance of the little Buddha in the gracious hall, as they are all lit up and have names on them? These are donors who donated money to the temple, and in memory of the donors, their names are written underneath the lotus seat of the Buddha. And this will be permanent tablets telling all the other people that these people are generous and they donate to support the temple. The fact that we have a temple does not come without a cost. It's so many people so generously supported us. So whenever you're enjoying facilities in here, always think, who provided these? I really appreciate people who provided this. Venerable, what happened to all the plaques of explanation by the statues? They're no longer there. So, you want to be the judge? You got to put those names back there. I don't know what you mean. Well, they're no longer there. There must be a reason. You mean plaques to explain what the Buddha is? You know, that kind? Because we are lack of volunteers who update those words, because those words have been weathered by the sun and by the rain and by the snow, and we can't catch up with the work. So can you be a volunteer and spend about, say, as much time as necessary to do something about it? Not just that, we have so many things that we are behind. We haven't dug up all the weeds, and we need a lot of people. Not to say, you know, we have so many things that you are behind, we are behind. You know, people here, they just want to enjoy the garden. They don't know how much work has been put in the garden. There's this rhododendron, azalea, this maples, and all. They should be in the right place. How come you put the maple in there and not in here? How come you still have these withered branches in there? They should be clean. How come you don't fertilize it? How come you don't water it? Also, why was the Dharma wheel destroyed? It was beautiful. Because we need your help to put it back. It was rusted. And people say, how come your Dharma wheel was rusted? And then it was all covered with weeds. You're not glorifying the Dharma wheel. What do you call that? You bring blasphemy to the Dharma wheel. So no, we couldn't catch up with the work. So why don't you volunteer and put the Dharma wheel back? No, let me tell you, it's semi-true. Because the Dharma wheel got very rusty. And some people came and many people said, that's a swastika. Are you guys supporting Nazi Germany? I said, no. Hitler borrowed the sign from 2,600 years ago, the sign from Buddha. We don't want to explain all this. Plus, all the weeds have been covering it up, and we didn't have time to catch up with unweeding. So we say, why don't we just make it flat and grow and put a piece of green grass on it and easily manageable grass, and we still have the Dharma wheel. So we have in the future, if we have better place, we'll put it up. Why do we still use Sanskrit to chant? We still use Sanskrit to chant. And we use Sanskrit to chant because Sanskrit, when we are chanting it, is translated sound. In other words, if it is Namo Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Namo Kwanjijai Pusa, is a translated sound from the original Sanskrit into the Chinese language. It's a translated one. And in some of the mantras, in doing the translation, we didn't translate the meaning. We just transcribed the sound out. Like Namo Ratna Dharayaya, Namo Haladana Dharayaya. We only translate the phonetics. And sometimes the translation may not be 100% accurate. So in the ancient days, many years ago, people don't study Sanskrit that much. But recently, in the last 100 years, many people have started to study the original language, which is Sanskrit. So they say, if we chant it in a translated sound, a Chinese sound, why don't we maintain the original sound? So that tendency has been like that for a number of years, and we translate it. So we chant in Sanskrit. And we still use Sanskrit because we want to use the original. Most of the sutras were translated in meaning. And sometimes when we compare to the Sanskrit, the translation was pretty accurate. Maybe within a range of 80 to 100% right translation. They've been very careful in the translation over the generations. But in mantra or dharani, those keywords, they didn't translate it. They just used the sound. For example, Mani Padme Hum. That's a Sanskrit sound. If you translate the meaning, it is the mother of all sound. We purify our mind like a lotus, and we have to purify our senses. And if we purify our senses, we'll get to enlightenment. That's the meaning. But we didn't translate the meaning. We just say Om Mani Padme Hum, because somehow there's a mystic in sound, and sound is just like if we can use an analogy, it's like your phone, for example. There's a certain frequency, and that frequency, imagine that frequency can be, the original frequency can be decoded into certain languages. But the decoding, although it works, sometimes it's not accurate. That's the reason why when you receive messages, when you receive phone, it's not 100% clear. But if you use the original frequency, actual frequency, then it's clearer. So that's the reason why they maintain the Sanskrit original and chant it with the Sanskrit sound. All right?